Hey everyone, hope all are doing good. So, in today's DevOps interview questions, we'll be seeing about CI/CD Part 2. And the topic is going to be Jenkins and GitHub Actions, which are the popular CI/CD tools that is currently available in the market. So, before starting, like if you haven't subscribed to our channel, DevOps Motivation, please hit the subscribe so that I'll bring you more awesome content so that we'll learn together and grow together. Yeah. So without further delay, let's jump into Jenkins. So what is Jenkins? And if the question is like, what have you used it for? Then Jenkins is a Java-based open source tool for continuous integration, helping developers build, test, and deliver software efficiently through various automation plugins. So Jenkins integrates development lifecycle process of all kinds, including build, document, test, package, stage, deploy, static analysis, and much more. So these are the different stages with which we can automate the entire process via the Jenkins tool. So what are the advantages of Jenkins over its competitors? So this is a small comparison. So we have Travis, Bamboo, TeamCity, and Circle CI. And Jenkins has the following advantages. So it is open source and free, customizable and flexible, and it has wide range of integrations and plugins. It has an active and supportive community. So Travis, it is having a user-friendly cloud-based CI/CD platform with quick setup, but limited customization and integrations compared to Jenkins. And Bamboo, on the other hand, it is Atlassian product, which is having extensive feature, but it can be pricier and more complex to configure than Jenkins. TeamCity, it is a JetBrains product. It can be also complex and resource intensive in compared to Jenkins. Circle CI, it is having fast build times and GitHub integrations, though it can be costlier, especially for large projects compared to Jenkins. So what are the limitations? We saw the advantages, but what are the limitations or disadvantages? So Jenkins is having an old-fashioned dashboard with not many options to customize, and it is the container readiness. So it has been improved with Jenkins X, and it doesn't have many features that is Jenkins X. And on the other hand, like there are many plugins created by the community to expand its abilities. So managing Jenkins and its pipeline as a code can be a really tedious job. So that is a serious disadvantage. So explain the following, like what is a job, build, plugin, node, or worker, and executor. So job is an automation definition, like what and where to execute once the user clicks on a build. And build is a running instance of a job. You can have one or more builds at a given point of time, unless limited by configuration. A worker is the machine or instance on which the build will be running. And when a build starts, it acquires a worker out of a pool to run it. And executor is a variable of the worker defining how many builds can run on the worker in parallel. So executor values of 3 means 3 builds can run at any point on that executor, not necessarily of the same job, but any builds. So what plugins have you used in Jenkins? So Jenkins has a vast library of plugins. Let's see it one by one. First is pipeline. It enables users to create and manage multi-stage pipelines for automated software delivery. Git for integrating with Git for code version control, allowing pulling, triggering builds and pushing code changes. And Docker for building and running containers, streamlining application deployment. JUnit for running unit test cases and generating result reports. Email extension enhances email notification with customization options, targeting specific replicants based on the build results. Sorry, it's not replicants, it is recipients. And artifactory, it's for storing and managing the binary artifacts in the build process. Sonar Cube, it is for code quality analysis, measuring code complexity, duplication, and coverage. So these are the different plugins in Jenkins. Have you used Jenkins for CI/CD process? Can you describe them? So these are the different stages. Let's see each stage at a time. So first, we need to install Jenkins on a server like AWS and install the necessary plugins like whatever plugins we saw previously. So Git, Docker, Node.js, etc. And create a new job to build the Node.js application. So in this example, we'll see how to build the Node.js application via Jenkins. And the next step would be configure the job to pull the Git code, install dependencies, run tests and builds, and set up a deployment environment, example Docker, and configure continuous deployment if the test pass. And once that is done, like once the deployment is done, we need to monitor and troubleshoot for any issues. So this is a step-by-step process on how to set up Jenkins. Now, what type of jobs are there? Which types have you used? So we have freestyle jobs. It is customizable with build steps, triggers, SEM polling, and post-build actions. And pipeline job defines a sequence of jobs using a script like Jenkins file. Multi-configuration job runs the job with multiple configuration, creates a matrix of results. Maven job decide for Java applications, automates Maven build process. And we have parameterized job allows runtime customization by defining and passing parameters. How did you report build results to the users? What ways are there to report the results? So we have set up the Jenkins, we have installed the plugins, we have created the jobs. Now, if the job passes or fails, like what is the reporting mechanism? So we can either send it as emails, we can send it as messaging apps like Slack, and we have dashboards. And each have its own advantages and disadvantages. So basically, like based on the use case, we can define it. Now, the Jenkins is done. Now let's move on to GitHub Actions, which is another popular tool, widely adopted currently. And let's see the questions. So what is a workflow in GitHub Actions? So it is all defined in a YAML format, which is very easier to read by the end user. So YAML file that defines the automation actions and instructions to execute upon a particular specific event. The file is placed in the repository itself. So if your application is there in the repository, we'll be creating a YAML file and define all the stages for the automation in the YAML file itself. A workflow can be anything like running tests, compiling codes, building packages, etc. What is a runner in GitHub Actions? A workflow has to be executed somewhere. So the environment where the workflow is executed is called runner. A runner can be on-premise host or GitHub host. There is a typo. Okay, yeah. So what is a job in GitHub Actions? A job is a series of steps which are executed on the same runner or environment. A workflow must include at least one job. What is an action in GitHub Actions? Action is the smallest unit in a workflow. It includes the commands to execute a part of the job. In GitHub Action workflows, what the on attribute or directory is used for. So specify upon which events the workflow will be triggered. For example, you might configure the workflow to trigger every time a change is pushed to the repository. So if there is any change and you have committed to the repository, the workflow should trigger. So that's where the on attribute will come into picture. Next is a true or false type. So in GitHub Actions, jobs are executed in parallel by default. So it's a true statement. Yes, the jobs are executed in parallel. How to create dependencies between jobs. So one job runs after another. The keyword here is needs. So we have jobs under which we have job one and job two. And under job two, we'll be defining needs keyword and we'll be defining job one. So after the execution of job one, job two will be executed. So in the above example, job one must complete successfully before job two runs. Next question would be how to add workflow to a repository. So via CLI, we can go to the directory .github/workflows and we'll be adding the YAML file. So that's it for this part. I hope you found it useful. If so, please subscribe to our channel DevOps Motivation so that you'll be getting more awesome contents. And thank you so much for your time. See you in the next video. Bye.